least it needs 24 hours to load, right? So we'd want that already set up so that they can log into the DoorSav with the access code.
Yep.
So that would be the first thing to make sure that they were able to get into that. So then I would make sure they have all the materials. So which are we doing, AMI?
Yeah.
Okay, so they would need the MDM or the charging dock with the MDM sensors. So there should be 2 long and 2 short ones in the dock, as well as the RFD, which is the iPod looking thing, with the charging cord, and have them plugged in. And we would have wanted those plugged in overnight charging. And then you need a USB cord and the Surface.
Yep.
And you would need the DAP. So not only the DAP plastic adapter, yep, and the sticky adhesive pieces. So you would need 4, so 2 clips at the very least, but ultimately 4 if you have them. And then we would need our template markers. So we would need, there should be several of them based on, and we would be using the one based on the subject's height. Yep. And there should be also a tibial ruler there as well. Yep. And then a marker, surgical marker, to be able to mark the body for the sites of where you're putting those.
Nailed it.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, if they can log into their DoorSav, they open up that, and we're going to run through the program. Basically tells you the setup process. But on top of that, I'll walk through that too. Do you want me to like share my screen and go through it like that, or?
Sure. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
I like picked all my stuff up. Tyler's working from the office this morning, and he's on a call now, and I left my Surface charger upstairs, so that works.
This will log in. All right. So first thing you're going to want to do is, I'm not sure actually if the order matters, but I would add your subject. So do you want me to add you as a subject?
Yeah, let's just talk through the subject piece.
Okay.
I don't know if well, you didn't have it all. That was the issue, right? Scroll down all the way. I might have added it.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's talk through this because I don't think we've talked through all of this yet, but go ahead and take me through some of it, and then once we get into like the concussion and stuff, I'll kind of tell you what you need to know.
So you're going to want to be putting in several pieces of the demographics here, because it's going to be pulling some of this information in with the report. So making sure you're putting the first and last name, birth date, weight, height, and then male or female for that. For the email, generally, if the patient wants the report to be sent to them, you can throw that in their email for that, as well as the referring doctor. If you've had discussions with the doctor already about this program, it's a great way to create conversations around the report. I don't know, why is there just football positions?
Yeah, so there was a time when we were like tracking some of the research for football.
Oh.
And if they do play football, enter the position. If they don't play football, no need to enter the position.
Okay, got it. So then when you're going into your specific sport and injury demographics, which I I do find interesting. Most of the other programs, like they're like, you can put that in if you want. But with this program, it actually pulls based on injury risk. So you want to make sure you're filling in what sport is there, or what's their main sport. Even if they're a multiple athlete, you want to add in the main one that they're going to be coming back to, their dominant side, and then the level. Does it take into consideration the experience level, or is that more so just for a tracking?
That's more for tracking.
Okay. So filling in as much of this as you can. Certainly, if they're coming back from an ACL injury, that is a big piece of what the report is looking at for injury risk and performance risk. So making sure you're filling out that. Same with the orthopedic. If there's another injury they're coming back from, as much information as you can. For concussions, I'm assuming just because they're at more risk of lower body injury.
Yeah, perfect. So the thing with concussions, like how I explain it is, okay, so when you're filling this out, have you ever had a previous concussion? You'll put yes. Have you had any in the last year? No. How many did you have 2 years ago? One. How many did you have 3 years ago? Three. So you want to like definitely by each year map out how many concussions you had. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I think that's like where people get a little hung up. And then if you scroll down, knee activity. So this is when they're at their best. So when they're rehabbing, if they're like 4 months post-op, right now they're probably not running a ton, cutting, decelerating, pivoting. But when you're at your best, so if you're like a high school athlete, you're going to pretty much do every day, right? If they're a weekend warrior, you're going to ask them like, how often are you running? How often are you cutting? How often are you decelerating? Things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yep. Okay. So all this stuff I don't think I filled in for Shelby.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would change her risk or not.
It would change her AMI rating, her movement efficiency score on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Can you always go back in, like once you create an even test, can you go back and edit that? Okay.
Yeah, so if you click on Shelby or double click up at the top left, see that kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
button?
Okay.
Yeah, you can just fill that
Yep.
out.
Okay. I don't need to do that now, but okay. So now that we created our subject, they would come up here and this anybody that you would test would show up on this main dashboard. So how do you want me to do this?
I want you to just like go through. So if you like open up Shelby
Just
and
go
then
through, pretend like I'm
take me through like the AMI. Just take me through it.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
setup. And then we can just like briefly talk instructions too.
Okay. So when you click on your subject, this is next page is going to show all your templates for the testings and what you have available for you. So we're going to do the AMI. So double click on that. When you go through this, you're going to want to make sure that the camera is on and facing the right way. So you also want to make sure that this box is clicked, that it's recording the video, because that can be helpful within your analysis. So I don't actually remember what happens if you do, this is checked. Does that just mean it flips the camera?
No, so if you flip the camera, and this will be like a tech question that you'll get quite a bit, like, hey, my camera is working. Go ahead and click on camera settings, change camera settings. And then you'll click on live assessment. Plug the RFD in.
I can see how the Move Plus is kind of nicer because you won't have all of these
Yeah,
wires.
exactly. Exactly. So if you have the camera facing you, you'll press add,
Oh,
and then
right.
you'll pick the
Okay.
one that's facing rear. Or I'm sorry, you'll exit out of the opposite one. So you'll exit out of the camera front one. Yep.
Right.
And then just
Okay.
press that arrow. Hmm. Perfect.
So the RFD has to be plugged in for that.
Yes. And I think it's
Okay.
always important to let them know, like, you want to make sure, like, how do I know when my sensors are ready and they're charged?
Yep. When they're blinking really slowly from white to green.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So
Okay.
let's go
Yep.
through just real quick. If I have a scenario where I sent a sensor in to someone, a new sensor, and
Yep.
they call you and they're like, oh, Brittany, like my sensor's not working. It's still the same sensor. The first thing that
So,
I would say is like, did you change the serial number on here?
yep. Yep.
So run me through how you would change the serial number.
So you can click on it,
Hmm?
I think.
Oh, yeah, you see, sorry, problem sensors. Some of the sensors are not communicating with the RFD. If this is because they're in the dock, then press reconfigure.
Okay.
So when this happens, I'll usually like pop the sensors out, pop everything out just for a second, but you're good. It looks like it's working right now. So you're totally
Okay.
fine. Okay, so run me through how you would change a serial number. Oh, you get it. You click
So
on it, it pops up the serial number, you type
yeah,
that in,
and then
right?
you
Okay,
type it in. Yeah.
perfect. Okay, let's
Um,
run through this setup. Teach me how to put on DAPs.
okay. So we're gonna base where we're putting these sensors based on how high the what the height is of what the height of the subject is. So you're going to take the template that matches that person, but then before you use the template, you're going to grab one of your DAPs, so those plastic um, plastic
Blue clips.
sensor holders, and you're going to also grab one of the adhesives as well. And you're going to take the plastic thing. You're going to have the DAP, I should call it the right thing. You're going to grab the DAP and the adhesive. The way you want it set up is that you'll see two smaller rounded edges at the bottom of the long edge, as well as a bump on one of the ends. So it kind of looks like a dog. So what you want is the dog head to be facing to the you want the dog head facing to the left, and am I doing that right? Yes, the dog head facing to the left, so that you can see this sticky piece in the front that you can remove without removing the rest of it.
So
So you
I
would
would
pull.
show them. So show
Oh,
them, like,
okay.
it's the benefit
Yep.
of the video camera, like, right? Like, here's your
Yeah, that's true.
adhesive, this is a dog, and then show them, like, this is the head, here's the feet,
Right.
right?
Okay. Yep. So here's the head. Here's the feet here. So you want to make sure that that dog head is facing to the left. And then
Okay,
again, you'll see that adhesive piece that you can remove off of the adhesive.
awesome.
So
Got that.
if you lay that down with that removable piece up top, you're going to remove that piece, and then taking the blue plastic prongs, you're going to want the flat edge is going to be what you put on the adhesive, the white adhesive, and the configuration of this, the two prongs at the here should be up top.
Okay.
So it's two prongs up top, one long prong at the bottom, and just lay that flush in the middle of that. So it looks like this. So when you do the second one, It's going to be similar. The dog head is going to be facing, except the dog head's going to be facing to the right.
Nope.
So the two, is that right?
Mm-mm. You want to
Oh, so
put,
it's the left.
you're okay. You want to put all of the blue clips on the adhesive the exact same way.
Oh, and then you're just
The
turning them.
orientation of,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, got it.
the dap is going to be
Okay.
different.
So both of these, you're gonna take your second adhesive piece and set it up the same way, so that the dog head is to the left, two prongs are up top, and the long prong is on the bottom with the dog
Awesome.
feet.
Got it.
Okay. So then what you're gonna do is having your subject stand comfortably facing away from you, you're going to find where their PSIS junction is, and you're going to mark them. So it's important to make sure that you're on the right spot before marking them. And then you're going to draw a line between the two, a nice horizontal line across the back in between those two dots.
Okay, I did that.
Okay. So once you do that, you're going to take one of your DAPs and you're going to using the two top prongs here, you're going to line that up right along the line that you just drew. Okay, so the dog head's going to be to the left, the 2 feet are going to be towards the bottom, the prongs should be facing up along that line.
Okay, so I just stick it on their back.
So you're going to have to peel off. Yeah, I should probably say that. You're going to peel off the back using from the dog head. There's going to be a piece where you can separate the two and peel off. And so the adhesive is going to be on the white side. You're going to stick to the back.
Perfect. Okay, I did that. I have the low
Okay.
back one.
Okay. So the next DAP is going to be going on the TL junction. Okay. So this is where we're going to use the measuring template. And so this is going to line up right where you already have that first DAP on the PSIS. You're going to line it up, and this might have to go like kind of in their shorts. You can kind of use their shorts or pants to help stabilize it. And the DAP is going to go right in the middle of that bottom opening of the template.
Okay.
So that it sits right in that spot.
How do I know which template to use?
So that's going to be based on the height. So right here in the left-hand corner, it has the height metrics, and
Okay.
there's usually a range.
Perfect. Got it. So it's in the pants.
Yep. So it's sitting upright so that you should see the number or the first sensor. It's right here labeled on the bottom. And then for the next sensor, we're going to use the top opening to help find that spot where we want it. So this is going to be the TL junction. And the way that you're going to set this one up is that so this is where we're going to flip the DAP so that the feet of the dog are going to match the template feet here in that top opening. And it's going to lay. Okay, good. So it's going to lay, and we want to make sure that those two prongs on the bottom now are falling right in line with the dotted line that you see on your template, so that they're stacked directly over each other.
Okay, perfect. I peeled that off, put it on the TL junction.
Okay, so you can remove the template from the back now.
Nice job.
So from there, you can go ahead and click in the sensors. So you're gonna pop them out of the dock, the charging dock, and you'll see that the prongs on the blue DAP are gonna match the prongs on the back of your Dorsavi sensors. So for the back, you're gonna see on here they're labeled. One says upper right and one says lower left. So for the back, you're just going to use the one that says upper is the one that's going to go on that top sensor that says that's where the TL junction is. And you might have to push them in kind of forcefully. So have the subject just be aware of that, and maybe have them kind of press against you, giving that opposite pressure. And then they're just going to click in, and you'll hear a snap to know that
Perfect.
they're locked in.
Awesome. There, my sensors are on the back.
Okay. Am I going to be able to go through this without actually having them?
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, okay. So then, for the second pairing of the sensors, you're going to then take your other two blue DAPs, and we're going to be placing them on the anterior tib of each leg. So we're going to use another ruler. It should be a long white ruler, that on the bottom it says inferior edge of the medial malleolus. So that's going to be your marker where you're going to place the ruler to know what, where we're going to use the pen to mark. So you're going to place that ruler right along the inferior edge of the medial malleolus, like it says, and making sure that it's nice and straight. Mine kind of turns a little bit, but you're going to use the height of the subject again to depict where you're going to put, or dictate where you're going to put that sensor. Okay. So whatever that height is, you're going to make a mark right along the ruler, or yours might have like a little opening where you can draw a straight line right through the ruler. And then you can take the ruler off. And so again, we're going to,
from my inferior medial malleolus, lining it up on what bony structure?
Along the tibia.
Perfect. And then I made my mark on both legs.
Okay. So when you're orientating the DAPs for this one, you want to make sure that the dog legs are always, or the dog head is facing up, and okay, the feet are facing to the left.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah. I usually lead with the prongs, but if you lead with the feet,
prong,
that's fine too. Like it's whatever they're gonna pick up on. And you training's
okay,
gonna be a little different. So dog feet to the left.
Yep. So the two prongs are always going to be facing the right, regardless of the leg. So if you're
Okay.
looking at that individual, the two prongs are going to be facing the right.
Okay. So I have the dog head up, the prongs to the right. Now where do I put this?
So you're going to make sure with that line that you drew on the tibia, you're going to put those two prongs on the right. You're going to make sure that the line intersects those two prongs, and we want the sensors to be right along the anterior tib.
Okay.
So the line is going through the two prongs on the medial side of that shin on the anterior tib.
Perfect. Yeah, I think making stress you want this on the tibia. You want it on the bony structure. Yep. If you don't have it on the bony structure, we're going to get skewed data because that's where people miss it the most, but you did a nice job. Okay, perfect. Okay. So mine are on.
On both legs?
On both legs.
Okay. So we're going to start with the sensors on the back to be able to perform the first couple tests. And then the software is going to indicate when you would move those the sensors to the legs. Okay. So your sensor should look like that on your back. So the first thing we have to do is get our baseline measurements, so calibrating the sensors. So when you do this, you want your subject to be standing nice and relaxed, arms down by their side, standing in their normal position. And you would go ahead and press calibrate on the sensors.
You can go ahead and press it. You're just gonna get weird data.
Okay. And when you're looking at here, where it's picking up your lordotic curve, we want to make sure that the lumbar should be at in a negative amount, considering the extensive curve of the lordosis or of the lumbar spine.
Yeah, and just break it down a little bit more, right? Like negative means extension,
Okay.
positive means flexion. So go ahead and say that again. Like, why do I care if it's negative? Like from a postural standpoint, why would I care? Like, do we always start in extension? Do we always start in flexion? Like,
Okay. So when you're looking at the numbers here, and you'll see this throughout when we look at the report, we always want to remember that the negative numbers mean that you're in extension, whereas the positive numbers mean that you're in flexion. So if we think of the natural curve of the spine, the lumbar spine is in extension. So we should see that here through the curve that you're in a negative, you're starting at a baseline of a negative degree.
nailed it. Perfect. Okay, got it.
Okay.
And
So
if I
once
see
they're
a
done,
positive, what happens? Like, oh no, my numbers are positive.
it could be that the sensors are reversed.
Let's just check them.
So check if they're,
Yeah, so if I'm in a
yep.
positive then, yeah, exactly. You want to check them. And this is something we didn't go through. So if you go ahead and press next. There's another calibration button. So like if the sensors fall off, if they're super sweaty, if I saw that positive number, I'm able to
Yep.
like adjust the sensors. And then the third icon from the top, press that button. And then you can just have them, I reset the sensors, I put them back on, just have them stand straight, recalibrate, basically. Okay. That's just something we
Okay.
didn't go through, but perfect. You absolutely nailed that first setup.
Good.
Nice job. Okay. Let's just go through this. Let's keep cruising until you feel like you've hit like your stopping point, and then we'll kind of
Okay.
talk through. So we're just going to pretend like I'm doing all of this and you're going to run me through how to do it. Okay. So orient me
Okay.
to the screen a little bit and then take me through the instructions of the plank and maybe how it's assessed. So I understand like what I need to do from the plank perspective.
Okay. So you're going to want your subject to be in the middle of your camera view, and that here on the screen is kind of split into three different parts. On the left is your testing movements. On the top is where the sensor, what it's reading at the time, and then at the bottom you see a dotted line and you see the camera. So you can kind of adjust that based on how big you want your camera view. So for the first test, and it's really important that you're going through this same order of testing, because when you're going through this, it's all based on fatigue. So we want to make sure that we're doing our planks, which are kind of the full body movements, and this double leg squat before we go into the single leg movements.
Perfect.
So the first one is our stationary plank. So obviously on the left, you can see that it has, your directions for the subject. So I would go ahead and read that so that the subject hears what they're having to do, but ultimately you are going to instruct them to get into the perfect plank. This test will start out in that perfect plank. Oh, give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah. You want to hold about that? What? The borders? What? Okay. Yeah. There's going to be another step. Yeah. Yep. Thank you so much. Sorry, we have a revisit day, so there's like a million people outside my room right now.
You're good. You handle that too, like as you need to. You're totally fine. You're doing really well, Brittany. Picking it up
Thank
really
you.
quickly.
All right, so with the plank, you're going to put them in the perfect position, and then the sensors are basically docking when you lose that perfect position. So you want to make sure that you're instructing them to, if they do feel like they're losing that position, to try to maintain it or get back into the position without fully losing the position. So go ahead and get them into the perfect position. So on their elbows, legs straight, nice flat back. They're going to hold that position for 60 seconds, trying not to move at all. And then they're going to continue to hold that position through the full 60 seconds.
Okay, so I put them in the 60 seconds. So I put them in the perfect plank. Now what do I do? How do I make sure that I'm starting?
Yep. So once they're in that position and they're ready to go, the test will start reading once you press the space bar. So that's going to open your capture window. And for this test, since it's a time, it's not based on reps. It's actually, as soon as you hit that space bar, it's going to start that clock, and you can see the time in the top right corner where it says right now 0 out of 60 seconds. So it's going to start counting up towards that 60 seconds. And the capture window will close as soon as that 60 seconds is done.
All right, so go ahead and press the capture window just so we can visually see it.
There might be a little bit of a delay, you'll notice when it starts, but so there you can see the time going up, and you can now see in your data collection the blue window. So that's your capture window.
Perfect. And what happens if they don't hold the plank for the entire 60 seconds?
So you're going to then press the failed. So see the top portion, there's a failed with a checkbox, so you can press and click that, which indicates that they weren't able to hold that whole time.
And then you press the space bar.
Then press the space bar. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's something that you didn't have to go through because Shelby held that plank the entire time. Right?
Right.
And the most important piece about that is I press fail, I click the space bar because I want to capture just the data that they've been holding for that minute. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then explain to me what does it mean to fail? So like what am I looking for? Like what body position? What happened? Do you know what I mean? What constitutes that way?
So a failed position, obviously, if they completely get out of that position. So if they drop to the ground onto their stomach, or they put their knees down to the ground, would be a failed position. Or if they're going to put themselves at risk for injury in that position.
Perfect. Nailed the plank. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to keep the sensors on the back, and then we're going to get them on their feet, and they're going to complete 20 body weight squats, double leg squats. So for this one, they're actually going to be turned around. So they're facing away from you, and they're going to have their arms out in front, and they're going to squat down. The goal is to try to get to 90 degrees. And then they're going to be moving through those 20 reps in a controlled way. So for this one, it's a little different because it's not based on time, it's based on reps. So you're going to have to open and close the window every single rep. So it's important that you're cueing them when to squat so they know when to start the movement. And that should be after you've already opened that capture window. So when they start, they should be in facing away, legs should be straight. So we're kind of going through that full range of motion through the lower body.
And so, then, keep going.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, then run me through like the timing of everything, like space bar, squat, space bar. So like,
yep. So for this one, so if they're ready to squat, you're gonna press the space bar, and then again, there might be a little bit of delay. There we go. Then we have that blue window. So then you're going to say squat. They're going to go through it. And as soon as they go through that full rep and they stop and they stand straight, you're going to press the space bar again. So that's our rep 1. And again, in that top right, you'll see we're on rep 2 out of 20. So again, it's a space bar, squat, go through the full motion, and then you press the space bar again. The other options that you have while they're doing the squat is, as you see up in the top bar here, you have 2 options: loss of balance. So that's if they're obviously stumbling out of the 2 feet stance, or if they're losing pelvic control. So if they're going into this massive lordotic curve, or they're flexed totally forward and they're not able to maintain that strong position.
Yeah, I think I would probably, I don't even know why they have loss of pelvic control up there. I wouldn't even like touch on that, but it was a
Okay.
good explanation of what loss of pelvic control is. Yeah, I would just say like the loss of balance and loss of pelvic control when you get into the single leg stuff. But I
Okay.
appreciate you're like navigating through the entire window. Like I get what you're doing.
Okay.
Um, the one thing I would say, so like talk to me about like when I'm actually seeing the data tracings, what should I see?
So you should see, like through the live data, you should be able to see a bell curve.
Okay.
So they're going to start at 0. The motion should start at 0, meaning they're in full extension, standing straight up. And then you'll see the curve go up, and at the lowest part of their squat should be the top of the bell curve. And we should see that bell curve come back down to 0, meaning that they're standing completely up, legs straight again.
Nailed it. Nice job. Okay, let's
Okay.
go to side plank. Just click into it.
So for the side plank, we're going to start on the right side. They can put like something thin underneath their elbow if they want to for comfortability, but we don't want them on a huge mat. Same with the regular plank. But they're going to position them again. We're trying to get into the perfect position initially, and they're going to be holding the side plank for 60 seconds. So their legs are going to be straight. They're going to be on their elbow. You want them to try not to move and hold through the 60 seconds, and it's only one repetition. So you want their shoulders stacked over their elbows, their hips are stacked over one another, and their legs are stacked with their ankles stacked
Perfect. And
directly
what's
in
considered a
line.
fail on this one?
So this would be, again, if they drop to the ground, so their hips hit the ground, or they fail on their own, or if they're not able to maintain that stacked position completely, or they're going to hurt themselves.
Perfect. Nice job. Okay, let's go to
Okay.
single leg squat on the right.
Oop.
You're good.
All right. So,
It's
yep.
normal.
Yep. So now I know, for the single leg movements, we're going to move the sensors to the legs. So you're going to be able to just pop those out. You can either take the adhesives completely off, or you can just keep those on, whatever's most comfortable for the subject. But you're going to pop those out. And then again, we're going to put these sensors based on what they say on the actual sensor. So again, so for the lower left, you're going to want to make sure that that sensor goes on the left leg, which can be confusing, which I learned because you're facing the subject. So it's going to be the opposite of what you're seeing. So the left sensor goes on the left leg, the right sensor goes on the right leg. And again, they're going to click in, and that's how you know they're in that holder properly.
Perfect. I love the way that you like said, like I made the mistake too. So I think that gives
Yeah.
you some grace. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the sensors in. Right's on right, left's on left.
Okay. And then you're going to press OK, which is going to allow you to get into that next movement. So we're going to do all the motions on the right, and then we go into the left leg. Okay, so just remember that. So the first one's going to be a single leg squat. This is going to be for 10 reps. So you're going to have the individual, when they're ready, to be balancing on their right leg. The other leg should be behind them. Make sure it's not resting on top of the other leg or in front for like a counterweight purpose. So it should be behind them. They're going to start with the single leg completely straight, and then they're going to go into their squats, trying to achieve 35 to 45 degrees of motion, moving in a controlled way without touching the opposite foot to the ground. And then when they make sure that when they're standing back up, they're getting back into that resting state. So leg totally straight, standing nice and tall. So when you're going through this is going to be similar to the squats, the double leg squats, where you're going to have to capture the movement for each rep. So you're going to, again, press the space bar. You're going to, for the first rep at least, there's usually a little bit of a delay. So we see that open window. You tell them to squat, see them go all the way through the motion, and then stand totally up, and then we press the space bar again. So we should see that bell curve just like we saw with the squat. And for this one, when you open the capture window, you can see those two boxes again. So loss of balance or loss of pelvic control. So this is more so going to be for if they're putting that foot down, you're going to click the opposite foot down, you're going to click that box, or if they're going into like this corkscrew motion and losing balance, we're going to click on that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Think like hop. Oh, you're good.
All right, so for the single leg hop, so this is where they're going to be hopping on just on the right leg in place. So we're going for height, also looking at landing control. So you're going to start in that single right leg stance with that leg straight, and then they're going to hop off the ground as high as possible without losing control, and they must stick the landing, meaning they're returning back into a nice strong position with the leg straight. So this is going to be for 10 reps. Similar cueing. So you're going to have to open that capture window. You're going to tell them to hop. Make sure that you allow them to jump and then land and stick that landing before you close the capture window. And for this one, is it 2 bell curves?
Yep. Loading and
So you, yep. So you should be able to see for each rep, you'll see two bell curves. So the first one's the jumping, the second one's the landing. If they're, are they allowed to hop to correct themselves? I can't remember.
Yeah, so if they do a single leg hop, they land and they're taking like multiple hops.
Yep.
You want to capture that entire thing, right? So you're gonna
Okay.
that's not a loss of balance. You're just capturing that entire movement. And then once they're come back up to a straight and still position, then you'll close the capture window.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect.
again, it's space bar, jump, hop. Make sure they don't close the window until they get into that resting position.
And a common question you'll get from clinicians is, do I correct them when they're jumping?
You don't want to correct them. You want to try to see their natural motion without any corrective techniques.
Perfect.
To get a good baseline. Yeah, unless they're going to hurt themselves.
Okay, let's go single leg hop plant. You're killing it.
Okay, so the single leg hop test. So they're going to be jumping forwards, backwards, and then lateral and medial. So on the right side, you're going to cue them and capture each one of those hops. So you're going to have them in the right single leg stance, legs straight. You're going to cue them after you press the space bar, allow it to give it a little bit of time. That capture window opens. You tell them to hop forward. They hop again, let them get their balance, and you close it. And then you tell them to hop backwards. They open, they hop backwards, they get back into that position, resting position. And then for the right side, they're going to hop to their right first, so the lateral hop. So they're going to go hop, and then they land, close, and then the last hop is going to be towards the medial side. So they're going to hop to the left, open, hop, and then land, close. And they're going to do that 2 full times around. So back to the forward hop, then back lateral to medial.
Nailed it. Perfect. Let's go ankle lunge.
All right. For the ankle lunge, you're going to have them kneeling on the kneeling on the left side. If they want, they can kneel on something soft so they're not jamming their knee into the ground. And then you're going to position them into the starting position. So they're going to be having their foot flat, their right foot flat in front of them with their tibia directly over the ankles. So we have a nice right angle from the foot to the tibia, and then from the tibia to the thigh or femur. And then when you open the capture window, you're going to have them starting that position. And as soon as you open the capture window, you're going to instruct them to try to push their knee and track over their toes as far as they can without picking up their heel. And they're going to hold that position for 10 total seconds. So you're going to capture from that resting position all the way as far as they can go without picking up the heel. And then the capture window is gonna, as soon as you hit the space bar, is gonna calculate those 10 seconds. So you'll just instruct them to relax after the 10 seconds. So they're doing that 3 total times.
Nailed it. Awesome.
Whew.
Yeah, you did really, really well. I really don't have much critical feedback to give you. You did really
Good.
nicely. And then what will happen is like once they go through the complete assessment, they're gonna have review results pop up and review report. Review results
Okay.
is going to save their work. So always recommend them to hit review results first.
Okay.
And then that's where you can adjust the capture windows. So perfect.
Okay, got it.
So let's go
Cool.
through. So you're just gonna hit the head and shoulders. Do you have any questions on that? Like explaining,
No.
you did really nice.
No, I think any question that came up, we kind of addressed right then. So
Okay. Let's go through. Yeah. No, I feel good about that. So we have Star PT movement suite training AMI and knee. So how do you want me to go through that entire thing so you can really see what it looks like from like a customer's perspective as I'm talking? Or do you want to try and do like the setup of it and just take like a couple pieces?
I think for the first time, it would be good for me to just kind of be an observer.
Yeah, that works.
I will have to. I got to talk to Perry. I'm supposed to have a meeting with him during that time, just like a
Yeah.
monthly meeting. But I'm gonna see if I can try to move it to a later time. But
Okay. Hey, I'm having a customer call me. Let me just answer this really quickly, okay?
yep.
Oops.
Okay.
I said 10 a.m. Central Time, Brian, not. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Let me let this dog out. Go. You don't need to go. Okay. All right. So I should give you a little background on this in case you hear about it. Ryan Stahl, who's with Ivy, and I'll put you in this email too. Ivy Rehab is like a large outpatient division, very similar to Select. Our goal within Dorset V is we're trying to trial systems within a large organization so we have more people try and uptake the system. So
Yep.
he's been my point of contact, and he just called me and let me know that he's transitioned into a new role. So I'm just trying to like put together some pieces and put together his communication with Andrew moving forward. So you won't have to deal with any of that. I'm trying to get that all settled before I leave. But if you do have anyone come out to you, so it's Ivy Rehab is a clinic that we're like working on trialing with, and then also Team Rehab. So if you get any questions on that, I would just let Andrew Ronke know, so our CEO, and he'll be able to like kind of help guide you, like what are the next steps and things like that.
It was IV Rehab and what was the other one?
Team Rehab.
Okay.
Yeah. We've done it with Select too, and then that's how we got so many systems in. So
Yep.
it's kind of a goal. But you shouldn't have to handle it. I'm gonna try, like I said, I'm trying to meet with everyone before I go on maternity leave. And then I'm gonna talk to Andrew about not doing the trial while you're here, so you don't have to train a shit ton of people doing the trial when I come back. So
Okay.
which will be
Got it.
fine. Which actually will be probably better months, like starting in August, because that's when they're actually gonna see athletes. So not the
Yep.
summer. Okay. Okay. So nice job putting together all of the like the setup. You went through everything step by step. You'll watch me on Tuesday, whenever you can jump on. Perry's first, so I totally get that. If he's like, no, we need to meet, totally fine. And
He usually cancels on me, so it should be good.
I
He's a
know,
busy guy.
Perry's so busy. I remember that life and that role, and like for him too, being in like the midst and the heart of like with John Gilmore, be crazy.
Oh yeah, he gets pulled into a lot.
He gets pulled into a lot. Yeah, I remember that life. But okay, you feel good about AMI? We'll run through it, and then I'm trying to think. Looking at the schedule, I want to go through some like tech stuff, I think. So here's
Okay.
what I did. Last night I took some time and I just laid out all of the general things that I do. So let me pull up that document. And then we're going to meet Shauna next Thursday, which I'm super excited for you to meet her.
Yep. So what is her role now?
Good question. So Shauna actually left as far as like a full-time position. She's just contracting with us. So before there were 2 account managers. I was within just like tech, and then we had a salesperson. And then our company condensed, and we had to let a couple people go. But then Shauna and I were still on board. She managed all the accounts. I did sales and IT basically. And then Shauna left because she had like an amazing opportunity. She's working with a different company, but she still contracts in with us. So she'll
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
if I need a day off, I can reach out to her, and her job is very flexible. Uh, So I can always reach out to her and be like, hey, Shauna, like, can you train? Or I'm off today. Can you be on call? Something like that.
Yep.
And then she'll come in like for development of like our new modules. So like she has the most experience with customers. She's actually the one who taught me back in God, like 2014 when I worked in Chicago, taught me how to use the system. And then also taught me how to use the system in Select. So when we're developing the NEAT module, she'll come in and like help develop that.
Cool.
But what she's going to be with you is she's going to be working through May, and that's what I want to talk to her about like on Thursday. She'll be like the person on call when you're not available in May.
Yep.
and you guys will have to work together as far as like Oakley, please stop. You'll have to work together if there's like a customer who needs like a consumable. I'm gonna send you all of the consumables, so I'm not sending like Shauna some and then
Yeah.
you some. She'll communicate to you like, hey, can you mail this out at some point tomorrow or today or whatever? And then you'll do that. Does that work?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then she'll also probably be the person that will cover your PTO. You'll just have to remind Andrew and Troy, the
Yeah.
Australians, like they don't plan ahead very far. It's very much like whatever's in front of them, oh, we'll figure it out kind of a thing.
Yep.
It's just a culture thing. So,
So is
uh,
that who, like anything like that, I would just reach out to them directly?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Um, and then Shauna's there for like training. So I talked to Andrew yesterday, and I'm going to train you in AMI and running on Movement Suite, AMI and running on vMove Plus. So you're proficient in training on those. Um, and then if there's any other module that comes up, like people have questions on or want additional training, like low back or hamstring or whatever, Shauna can train them. So you'll just reach
Okay.
out to Shauna and just let her know. But we'll kind
Okay.
of go through that when Shauna's on the call too.
Yep.
But you can call her anytime. Like she'll track her own hours. She'll make sure that she gets paid, all that good stuff. You call her
Okay.
anytime you have a question.
Okay.
You can also shoot me a text too. Like I'm sure I can answer something pretty quickly. So
You're gonna be a little busy.
I'm sure I'll be busy, but I'm sure I'll also be like sitting around too. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and if I don't answer, I don't answer. Like no sweat.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up this document and we're gonna kind of go through it step by step. And then we'll see what we want to focus on for the last hour. Ooh, I forgot to share my screen. Did you get your vMove Plus system or does that come today?
It comes today. I think it's delivered like between 11 and 3.
Okay. I might have put a signature on there, like someone has to sign for it. So if you're
Okay.
not there, they'll probably leave you a slip and you'll probably have to pick it up at the post office or
Okay.
FedEx. But
Yeah,
those
I
are
think my
usually.
girlfriend signed for the last one.
Oh, love that. Love her for that. Thank you. Okay. So movement suite training, we've done AMI. You're very good at that. We just have to get you comfortable and confident doing it with a customer. And my hope is that we have one scheduled for you to do while I'm here. That may not happen. So, you know what I mean? So, like, while I'm here,
Yeah.
you run through it. It may not happen just because we're not using Movement Suite as much. So, in the case where you're like, I really want someone to like be there with me, you can reach out to Shauna and schedule around her schedule too with that.
Okay.
We'll go through running. So we have a plan for that for next week. And then we'll go through vMove Plus training. This is going to be so easy compared to the movement suite system. And then the running is going to be very similar to the running on movement suite. So once we're proficient in movement suite or understand what's going on there, then we'll transition over to vMove Plus. And my hope is that you'll be able to see a couple trainings at least for the AMI for that.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. And if not, I'm recording them. So I'll send you some. And then again, like Shauna taught me how to do the AMI for vMove Plus. So if you need her to come in and like work with you on the first training session, that's fine. Like if I go early.
I actually have a question just in terms of like you or anybody else that's kind of filled a similar role as you. What has the training looked like to be able to then take over accounts and stuff? Has it been similar to this or more or less?
Oh, you're getting like a expedited training
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Because we started having conversations like probably 2 months ago. And it just took a while for Select to come back with that, like who they want and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
My goal was to have you start training with me in February so we could like at least go a little bit, a little bit slower. But here's the thing, like, you're gonna just manage as best as you can, and if you don't understand something, you reach out to me or you reach out to Shauna or Andrew. Like,
Yep.
the training, honestly, Shauna taught me, like, so I knew the system really well before.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I didn't go through any of this stuff like during training.
Yep.
I just went through, here's like the backlogging of everything. Here's the customer. Here's how you work this. But I think the most important piece is understanding the system
Yeah.
and being in this role. Like, this is what you like talk about the most, not all the other like fluff stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, no, you're definitely getting an expedited training. Do you feel like overwhelmed, or how do you feel about this?
I honestly think like the training and like setup and stuff is going to be the easier part. I feel like for me it's the other stuff,
Okay.
like just like and maybe it's just because I'm getting CC'd on a lot of emails I don't know about, but just like keeping that all organized and like making sure I'm getting back in a timely manner to individuals. It won't be as bad once school's over, but at least like that month of May will be a lot. But
And I think with the emails, like, you don't have to well, actually, let's just take some time and let's go through some of those customer issues and like some of those emails, and I can give you some background on it. We'll do that.
okay.
Um, but with those emails right now, I don't expect you to know who's who, what's
Oh
going on.
yeah.
I'm just like
Right.
showing you like here's what you can expect, and like here's some, like, just save some of the emails for like how I respond back to them.
Yep.
Um, Okay, let's just actually, before we go through any of this and just overwhelm me more, let's go through some of those emails. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to pull open your
Yep. I got it
email
here.
box?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some water while you do that. You guys are fine. My dogs. And then once you have that open, just go ahead and share your screen.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Let's start from, oh, okay, let's go to, Campbell Clinic, VMove Plus. Oh, that's just a meeting. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't see an email from them, I don't think.
That's okay. I'm just trying to find one. So a lot of these are just meetings, which is good. Go ahead and go to what's VMove Plus logins. Okay, let me read this real quick. Okay, this won't make sense to you until we go through VMove Plus.
Okay.
Let's skip that one. Okay, let's go to camera setting help. Okay, scroll all the way down. So this is a current customer. So Mary Miller with True Sports PT. And like, if you were to go to Salesforce and you could type in Mary Miller, so like what you want to understand is like her first email is, "Hi Dorsey team, somehow the camera got flipped around on the Dorsey program, even though Surface Pro says it's the rear camera. So if I see Surface in any email, if I see the Dorsey camera, like the camera's flipped, most likely
Yep.
a Surface, right? So it's, you know
Yep.
how to change this now. So all she was asking is, can't seem to find a setting button on the Dorsey. Is there a way to fix it? So go ahead and scroll up. So then I just gave quick instructions of how to fix it. So you could do this one of two ways. You could just send them like a quick email. Like I was at the DOT at this point, and so I was like, I can't get on a call. So
Yeah.
I just sent a quick email like, hey, can you follow these directions? And then if this does not work, feel free to call me. Always,
Okay.
always offer like a call if you're available. Sometimes
Yep.
it's nice to just shoot them like a Teams invite, have them share their screen, see what's going on, so you could actually like visually go through what's going on.
Yep.
But you know how to do this one now, right?
Yep. So it's when you go into at the beginning of the um, setup, you click on the box, and then you have to just X out the front-facing camera.
Perfect. Exactly. And so then I got an email back from them saying like, thank you, we're good to go. So that was a quick fix.
Yep.
Let's go to new sensor. Okay, so this one was, I actually entered this into Salesforce, I think. I think I did. Okay, so we'll go through this whole thing. So Carrie McPhail works with Campbell Clinic. It's in her email. She also works with Memphis Kinetics. Okay. And you don't need to know this off the top of your head. Remember, you're only filling in for 12 weeks, right? So you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
like be perfect for all this. You just have to kind of get by, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you're like, who's Carrie McPhail? What is she? She's asking you a question or something like that. You go into Salesforce. So let's go into Salesforce quick. Have we done Salesforce? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's not going to be I'm on the Surface right
Okay.
now. Let me open it up on the other.
Good. I can send it. I'll send you a link through here and
Oh,
we'll just
okay.
open it. Work. Make it easy. Okay, I just sent you the link.
Okay.
Don't remember my password. Let me see that one real quick. Manage passwords.
It was like dribble something.
Dribble 2434 maybe. Try yeah, try 2434. Dribble 2434.
Did you send it to the
Chat.
Dorsey? Oh, to the chat? I don't even know how to get to that function. Oh, the chat in the Teams. Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's dribble capital D. Yeah, I'll just type it in here. And my username is M Stewart, I think. Let me just look. Yeah, it's mstewart@dorsey.com.
Ah,
That's my password is the top one, username's the bottom one. Perfect. Okay. So go ahead and type in Carrie McPhail. Carie. And then MCPH. So she's going to be in there twice. See how she's under Memphis
Okay.
Kinetics and then Campbell
Yep.
Clinic. So go ahead and click on
Yep.
Campbell Clinic because this is what she's talking about first. And then scroll down. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. Go to yeah, scroll down, sorry. Go to cases. And then click on the most recent one. So the vMove Plus sensor disconnect. Okay, so you have this open, scroll all the way down. Perfect, right there is fine. Okay, so basically what happened is I had a training session with Campbell Clinic, and it was their first training session with vMove Plus. And they had a sensor that continued to disconnect. And so we were trying to like reset the system, like trying to go through it. But it ended up being just like the same exact sensor every single time. And so how I checked that is, and it won't make a ton of sense to you right now just because you haven't seen the vMove Plus system, but the vMove Plus system, it's the iPad with the 4 Bluetooth sensors. And so on the iPad, we have a Bluetooth signal up at the top right that shows the strength of the connection of each sensor. And so green is good, amber is moderate, red is weak signal, right? And
Yep.
so what continued to happen is it would show a red signal, and I would click on the signal button and it would show me that this consistent sensor was weak. And so then that sensor would just continue to disconnect. So I knew that that sensor was the continued sensor that was weak. So what I did is I said that's a faulty sensor. So we had to kind of scrap training, and they were very understanding about it. Like, tech happens. It's fine. Like, it's not
Yep.
ideal, but sometimes it happens. It's extremely rare that that happens because they test the sensors before they send them out to us, and then I retest the sensors before I send them out typically.
Yep.
But it just continued to disconnect. So we scrapped the training session, and then I sent them a new sensor. So that's what that email is about. So, but this is
Okay.
what the case is. So I entered this in the case. So go up to like the description, just go up a little bit. It's like subject and description in the middle. Yeah, right there. So subject, you see it at the very bottom of your page right now?
Yep.
Okay. So we're in Carrie McPhail's profile on Salesforce. We have, and it's also tied in with Campbell Clinic. So the
Yep.
subject is vMove Plus sensor disconnecting. I held a training session with Campbell Clinic, and they continued to have sensor disconnection. It was consistently the same sensor. I will send a new sensor. And so if you scroll up just a little bit, we can see it's with Carrie McPhail. It's at Campbell Clinic. The product is vMove Plus. You see this on the left side.
Yep.
And then failure mode, it was a hardware failure. It was, scroll up a little bit more. MDM serial number, it was a V6 sensor. I don't have the serial number yet, so I'm just waiting.
Yep.
And then scroll down. It's a high priority because they're not able to use the system.
Yep.
The status is currently open because I haven't, USPS actually ended up losing the sensor. So I
Oh,
had to
geez.
send another one, and they'll reach out to you if that happens. It's very rare. So I sent another sensor. So it's currently open. Hardware component is a V6 MDM sensor. V6C is with vMove Plus. And if you don't know all of this, like, you can just always ask too. Okay, so let's oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because there's MDM and then there's MDE, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's
So
open that
what's
up.
the difference?
Let's go to hardware component. Go to the right of hardware component and press that edit button. Go ahead and click the drop down. Okay. Scroll all the way up. Okay. So if we're going to go through the pieces of equipment here, and this is recorded. Okay.
Yep.
So V cable, you really won't have to worry about. V safe, MDM, you don't have to worry about anything in regards to V safe. That's on our work side.
Okay.
Packaging, you don't really have to worry about. The RFD, we know that one, right? Surface, we know that one.
Yep.
V5 cradle. So V5 is the movement suite. V5 is
Okay.
movement suite. Okay. So anything with V5 in front of it, the cradle, which is basically the charging dock. V5 MDE, you know which ones those are, the small ones.
The small ones. Okay.
V5 MDM are the longer ones. V5 whole kit, so like the entire kit's not working, right?
Yep.
V6B is with professional suite.
Okay.
The V6B sensors. Oh my God, Hank. These dogs are killing me this morning. They woke me up at 6:30.
Oh no.
And my
My
husband
dog
does
likes to sleep, so
it's
it's
so
great.
nice. The professional suite, we haven't talked much. You won't get a ton of questions on those. We're gonna just do a very general overview. But
Okay.
those are the small, like that's a smaller black pack. And they're the smaller sensors that kind of look like these.
Mm, Oh yeah, I have a couple of those.
Yeah, you should have two. So professional suite, they use two of them. So V6B are those small sensors. Okay, so
Okay.
that's with professional suite. And then, yeah, so V6B MDM, and then V6C cradle, this, with your V-Move Plus.
Okay.
Okay. And then these are V6, these are actually V6D sensors, but V6C sensors and V6C sensors are interchangeable. So it's with the V-Move Plus system. Oakley, please calm down. I know. We'll play after this. Okay. Does that help a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. And then part serial number. So when I enter in the part of what their issue sensor is, so that's their sensor. I'll put that number in once I get it from them. And then replacement required, yes. Serial number of the replacement. They're using VMove Plus. So I'm sending one of these. The serial number is on the side of it. And you won't know any of this because you haven't done VMove Plus yet.
Yep.
But I promise you, Movement Suite is the hardest one. Okay.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, and you're doing super well with it. Like, I know you probably feel very overwhelmed. Like, what are all these customers and who are these people? Like, you'll get to know it, and it's going to be, you won't get to know them like super well. You get to know the needy ones, right? Or like
Yeah.
the people
Right.
that are having issues. And all you're doing is you're just fixing those issues. And that's
Yep.
what athletic trainers do. We fix the issues, right? And calm people down. So you'll be just fine. Okay, scroll down. Mm, sorry, go to section 2. So right above this. Okay. A little bit higher. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I couldn't see all of it. So root cause analysis required. Go ahead and click that drop down. It's always going to be no. This is a tech query or product management only. So this is
Yep.
an issue that we've seen. You're always going to click no just to make it easy on you. Okay.
Yep.
Patient impact severity, always negligible. Okay.
Right.
This one I couldn't find. Go ahead and do the drop down. I couldn't really find one that like fit. It was just like something that happened. Like they didn't do anything to the sensor. It wasn't like a charging issue. it was a connection issue, so I just put user query. I
Yep.
put that for like anything general.
Okay.
Okay. And I think I have a video of me going through each one of these for you. And I just haven't sent it yet because I do want to
Okay.
go through like a whole tech day.
Yeah.
And then hardware failure category cannot reach steady state. So that's kind of what I just put for the hardware. Hank, stop. Hank, you guys are driving me nuts today. You guys need to chill. Um, Part disposal, retain and quarantine. So if you're ever sending a sensor out and they're sending it back to you, you're always going to retain it in quarantine.
Okay.
And then tech review up at the top right, replace faulty part. That's what we're going to do. We're going to send them a new sensor. And
Yep.
then I basically gave the description of everything that I did. So on 324, sensor has been sent, 322, I will send a new sensor and follow up. 324, sensor has been sent. I sent a return label for them to return the sensor, and I will maintain it in quarantine.
Okay. So as things are going through, I'm just adding to that comments box until everything they've gotten it works, then you close it.
Yep. And then do you remember how we close it? Okay, if you don't, we
No,
ran through it
I
really
don't.
quickly.
Yeah, I
So
don't remember.
if you go all the way to the top, Hank, stop. Hank. Scroll down just a little bit where it says
Oh, right.
status. Yep,
Yep.
go ahead and click that. It's going to be awaiting final QA review and closure.
Okay.
Once you're finished with the case, you're just going to send it to that, and then we have a person that closes the case. But that's your last step, awaiting final QA. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so you can press either cancel or save, it doesn't matter. Awesome. Let's go back to your email. Hank, stop. Okay, what's the running? Let's go running assessment. Okay, Chris Wolf. So within the running program of vMove Plus, we have, and I'm just sending you this email. You don't really have to do much with it. Chris Wolf was one part of our pilot testers. So before we send like any of this out to production, we do like a 5-month pilot session with like really proficient users. So
Yep.
we had, I think, 12 pilot sites for running. And what they did is they sent us information back, and then we kind of troubleshot. Like they used it on current patients, let us know what they liked about it, let us know what they didn't like about it, what works, what doesn't work, etc. And then we put all of our production information, or like from some of their feedback, into our production versions. So that's what this is. All I'm talking about right now is, we're finished with the pilot, and now they have to make a decision of if they want to stay with their current system, which is Professional Suite, or do they want to move into our vMove Plus system? Okay, so you may get questions like this, and again, I have like a full day of this planned. We just have to
Yep.
get through the system
Yep.
setup. But if someone wants to transition from using like a certain like movement suite system or Professional Suite system, they're going to come to you,
Yep.
and you're not expected to sell at all. But if they're already current customers, you'll fill out like a contract variation form basically. So
Okay.
they may ask you just some like information on like, hey, I'm currently using Movement Suite running, and I'm interested in talking about the new run module, something like that. So you can send them like a couple quick emails of like, here's what some of our features are on the vMove Plus run module. And I'm starting to send those. So just keep some of that stuff.
Yep.
And then once they're ready to transition, you will talk to them about pricing. And then I'll also send you that stuff too.
Okay.
And I know we're going through like some scenarios where it's just like, if this happens, then this happens. But what was that?
It's this carnival, so it's like today is it's a revisit day. So they sent all the admittance letters out. So then all the kids start going, and because they're usually admitted to several boarding schools. So
Yeah.
every school has like a revisit day. So it's basically trying to impress. So there's a carnival in our gym right now with like a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. So every time somebody walks in the gym, they cheer basically. Yeah.
Okay. So what I just put down on like one of our overall training sessions is vMove Plus transitioning customers. I'll send you just some like basic general tech stuff. You'll just save, here's like some of our improvements for the vMove Plus. Here's what to expect for the run module. And then here's the pricing of it too. And all you'll do is you'll just set that up, but we'll have a day of that.
I know there was one, I think you might have mentioned it. One mention of, it was an email that came through and I can't remember who it was, of course, but you're like, you're going to want to pay attention to this one, like that customer, or you're going to, maybe you were like, can't remember exactly. Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
Let's look through it real quick.
It
was probably like a needy customer or something.
Yeah, you were like, we're gonna touch base on this customer, I think. But it would have been from last week. Maybe it was this one, Andrea Dunn.
Okay, so okay, we can go through Andrea Dunn real quick. So Andrea Dunn, so Banner is Select.
Yep.
So this is one of the systems where it was transferred from a different clinic to her clinic. And so she's now trying to be part of like the Center of Excellence. And so within Select, they're basically adding Dorsey systems for all the Center of Excellence. So basically what I did is I got on a call with her and I wanted to see like, so let me back up a little bit. So when Select transfers a system, so it's coming from, I think, like Coon Rapids or something like that. Coon Rapids didn't use the system. They found a clinic, Banner, in Arizona that will use the system and will be part of the Center of Excellence. So what Coon Rapids does, they send it to IT. IT wipes the entire surface, and then IT sends it to the end location, and that's Andrea Dunn, so the Banner PT.
Yep.
And so what I do is I schedule a call with them and I just want to see what's on their surface first, like how much of this did IT wipe? And usually what I've been finding is they'll leave that Dorsey application on it, but you'll have to create their database.
Okay.
Right? So this is like the scenario of like when we create a database.
Yep.
Okay, so Select, basically you'll go in, you'll create their database, and then I sent an email off. Is that the first email? So go scroll down a little bit.
This was the first one.
Okay, so it says, I'm your account manager. Anything in regards to Dorsey V, I received notice that you're receiving or will be receiving the Coon Rapids Dorsey V. So this is my intro email to, I'm understanding that you're getting the new Dorsey V system. Slack does not do, I love Slack, but they do not do a good job of communicating with us where the system's going. So you have to track it down. And they have like a shit ton on their plate, right? So it's to be expected. They're just like thinking, okay, let's transition. When you transition a system, you have to make sure that the new clinicians are trained and you have to make sure that the billing process is transferred. Because right now it's being billed to Coon Rapids and we want it to be billed through the Banner PT. Right? Because they have the system and it's a subscription based. So it's always on a month to month basis. Okay. That's for Movement Suite. VMove Plus is on a 12-month contract. So, and
Yep.
no one can do a month-to-month on VMove Plus. Okay. So I just said I was hoping we could get on a quick call to see what was left on the surface and make sure you have the Dorsey application. I will most likely need to make you a new database for the system so you can have your own clinicians as users. Are you available for a quick call sometime next week? So after I sent this email, I created a new database for them. And remember, you go into
Yep.
Clinic Manager and you create that new database.
Yep.
And then scroll up. So then I sent her another email. I wanted to follow up on my previous email regarding the Dorsey system. Are you available for a quick call regarding the system? I would love to get your clinicians trained and the system up and running at your clinic. I also wanted to make sure you were aware during the transfer, we have put the system subscription on a pause for 2 months, and that pause ends April 1. So it took them basically 2 months to get the system from Coon Rapids to IT, then back to
Jeez.
them. Yeah, it shouldn't have taken that long, honestly. It's just like, I get it. And so we don't typically do holds, but in this case, I got approval from Troy and Andrew to do a hold just because we want to work with Select. And we understand that
Yep.
we're transferring the system instead of them canceling a system.
Yep.
And so we just let her know that her billing will start on April 1.
Yep.
And so then go ahead and scroll. So she got back to me. I had sent you an email from a week following my return from vacation regarding setting up the Dorsey and moving forward toward use of the piece of technology of administrative hours. So she's just basically telling me like when she's able to meet.
Yep.
Go ahead and scroll. So we schedule a time to meet, and then I've already created the database, right? So before, if she had some time, I would love for her to like log into the system to tell me like, are you able to put the activation code in? Because like we know it takes a long time to put the activation code in for it to sync. So I gave her the activation code and asked her to wait 24 hours to put the activation code in. And then I said, you will want to save this activation code, and explain to her why. So when we get on the call, we will go through, I just told her like what the plan for the call is. When we get on the call, we will go through and make sure you have all of the equipment to make sure you have access to the modules. Then we can schedule a call to train your clinicians. Does that work? So my purpose for the first call is to make sure, do you have all the equipment from when you're transferring from Select a clinic to a new clinic?
Yep.
And then also, do you have the correct modules on it? Did I set up your database correctly? Because
Yep.
typically we would have this surface and we would set all this up and then send it off to them, but we don't have that ability.
Right.
And I really doubt you'll have to do that, to be quite honest.
You say that,
But if you are, then you have me and you have Shauna, and
yep.
and you've already set up your own surface and you have those directions. So okay, and then whenever you're ready, scroll up.
I think that was the last one I saw.
Okay, so then what ended up happening is I sent her a Teams invite. We actually had the call yesterday. The call yesterday went super well. So when we were on the call, we went through, and that's the challenging part. You're probably going to learn more when you're actually on the call instead of seeing these emails, but obviously your schedule won't allow that, which is totally fine. This is your priority right now. So when we were on the call, I went through who I am. I'm Maka Lang. I'm your Dorsey V account manager, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do training. Any questions in regards to tech? I'm here to support you. If you have any questions, like, please let me know. I'm going to be your first stop. I'm also going to be the person, like, when you need more adhesives, to email me, and I'll send you out more adhesives. And so then we went through, she had all of the equipment. Everything was ready to go, which I loved. She had already entered into the activation code. And then I had her log in to the Dorsey V system using Dorsey V. And then she had the AMI module and the running module. And so then what we did is we just talked through like what her clinic is like. What's your patient population? I just want to understand a little bit more about them.
Yep.
And you don't have to do all of that because you're covering, right? Like you don't have
Right.
to learn like every piece about their clinic. You just have to like get them to survive through this, right?
Yes.
You're at the ER at this point. So I learned about their clinic, and then we scheduled a training session to go through with their clinicians. And so for the AMI, I recommend 2.5 hours if nobody's ever seen it before. And then they'll also have, since they're part of Select, they'll also have run. So I do like
Yep.
1.5 hour for that. So we scheduled a
Okay.
training session with her and another clinician. And that's that
Okay.
email. Does that help a little?
So you really don't bring in the other clinicians until you're ready to like go through the actual training. Initially, it's
Exactly.
just clinic manager, the center
Yeah.
managers and stuff.
Or whoever
Okay.
their Dorsey Viewpoint person is.
Yep.
I actually don't like when it's a clinic manager, to be quite honest, because they have way too much on their plate. I like when I was running this program, I found someone who wanted to grow, and I didn't, in Select, like it's challenging to grow if someone doesn't leave like above
Yeah.
you.
Yep. Yep.
So this was like I grabbed someone who was like, Maka, I want to grow, and has shown like, interest in that. And I
Yep.
had them develop the program. So I don't love when clinic managers do it, but it's pretty much how
Yep.
every clinic's gonna be. So does that help a little bit on this one?
Yes. Yep.
And help you run through like generally from a Select perspective what to expect on it?
Yep.
Okay. If you run into a Select, like you could even create a folder off to the side, like Select transition, and drop that email into the Select transition. And once that issue comes up, then you can look through these emails and kind of copy those emails off.
Right. Yep. That's a good idea.
Um, let's see. Running 5 minutes late. Okay, Vakash. So scroll down just a little bit. Okay, so Vakash, I'll just give you the general on him. He's also a pilot tester.
Okay.
He's pilot testing the run. The pilot test is over. However, my goal in this, and you don't have to worry about this side of things because you're not going to be in sales. My goal of this is to sell him the new product. I want him to transition from the professional suite over to vMove Plus. So the
Yep.
reason why I copied you in this is because we're going to give him a deal on it. And the deal should be in there. It's typically, I want to say we're going to give him like $100 instead of $150 for the running or
Yep.
something like that. Yeah, is that what it says? So that's the only reason
Yep.
why I copied you in this one. So like if he does transition, I'm going to try and transition him before I leave and just let him know like, hey, you'll get like maybe 1 or 2 more weeks. I'm going on maternity leave. Would you like to transition over? Yes, perfect. Okay. Troy also knows this. So Troy is our CFO. Andrew's
Yep.
our CEO. So Troy knows everything from a financial perspective. So if I've made a deal with him, I've cleared it by him. Okay. And I
Right.
have all this documentation and all this documentation. When you email someone, you're always going to put Salesforce in. Okay. So like
Yep.
open up your email. Have we talked about this?
I think you mentioned it, but we didn't actually go through it.
Okay. Open up an email.
Like just a new email.
Yeah. So if you email me, so I'm Stuart@dorseyv.com, and then go to CC and start typing in Salesforce. Oh, it's not going to pop up for you. So
Here it is.
here's what we're going to do. Just
It
because you
just popped
haven't
up.
done it yet. Oh, does that say? Nope, not that one. I'm going to give
Oh,
you a
okay.
different. But I would just save this email. Okay, I just sent it in the chat for you. You'll just copy and paste that. Yeah, that whole thing. Salesforce BCC. Okay. And so anytime you copy Salesforce BCC, that's going to go to the email that it's attached to in Salesforce.
Okay.
Okay. So if we go back to Salesforce and you go to, so go ahead and press the back arrow and you get into Carrie McPhail's profile. You see off to the right. Oh, yeah. See off to the right this month, all the chatter. So email new
Yes.
sensor. Every time I do anything, I document Salesforce and it goes into all of this information off to the right.
Okay.
Okay. So if
Yep.
you get a customer, like a customer is calling you or emailing you or something like that, you can go into Salesforce, type their name in, and then see what chatter that I've had previously. It documents all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you click on
Okay.
email, like click on the blue link, yeah, it'll pop up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So Vikash, like again, the only reason why I CC'd you on that in case he transitions, he takes a little bit longer and he's like, hey, they said that I would have this discount price. And like, yeah, you can have this, whatever.
Yep.
Then you can you can reach out to Troy and just double check. Troy and
Okay.
Andrew are there for you 100%. And you'll just then go through a contract variation form. And that's on our list of things to do. But again, I just want you to get through the movement suite process.
Okay.
It's there.
Yeah, no. It's great.
Okay, for the last few minutes, were those the emails that you kind of had questions on?
Yeah, I was just as they were coming through, I was like, oh, okay.
Getting
Gotta
overwhelmed?
yeah.
Yeah. Don't get overwhelmed with those emails. Like, I hate having emails in my inbox and all that good stuff. You're just being CC'd on this. Like, when you have a moment, just take your time, read through from the bottom up, like, and just
Yeah.
understand I'm just sending you different scenarios. And
Yep.
then feel free to create inbox like folders off to your left of being like, oh, this is a select issue. This is a pilot issue. This is a, whatever
Yep.
type of tech issue.
Yep.
For the last 4 minutes, I just want to share my screen real quick. And I want to review everything that we're going to go through just so it can kind of put you a little at ease, just know what's coming. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So professional suite, I talked about movement suite, VMove Plus, AMI running. We'll go through that stuff. Professional suite, you're just going to like know how to access the app and then general tech issues. I don't have anyone asking me anything about professional suite. And again, if they do, talk to Shauna. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to go through tech issues. So we've gone through a couple common tech issues and you've already like troubleshot one of your own. Jira is the documentation with our tech team. Okay. And then Salesforce, how to enter a case in.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll give you a couple scenarios. We've already ran through this a couple of times, but I'll give you a couple scenarios to do on your own. And then I want you to get on a call with Ed, who's our developer, and then Bina, who's our tech support as well. Because
Okay.
you're going to have like bi-weekly meetings with them.
Yep.
Mailing, we've kind of gone through this just briefly, and I have videos on this. Creating a label, emailing a customer like, hey, here's your tracking information. I've sent you a couple of those, so maybe that could be like a folder you put off to the side.
Yep.
And then once they're finished with the mail, what do you do? Or once you're finished with creating the email, how do we make sure we get paid? You're going to send an invoice to accounts. I have a whole document of step-by-step for that
Okay.
for you. Okay.
Yep.
We'll go through that. Contract variation form just talks to you a little bit about like ways that we do that if they cancel. I have a whole process for you. Let's see. Canceling subscription. This is what your steps are going to be. Here's your contract variation form. Follow these steps. Follow these videos for steps. Transitioning systems to a different clinic. Watch this YouTube video. Okay, so you have like, we'll go through it, but you're also gonna have, I have videos of you to reference back to.
Okay.
And then if customer wants to add, so customer wants to transition, I'll send you the pricing sheet. We'll go through that. New tech on vMove Plus. Customer wants to add running, what that looks like. And then Salesforce. We've briefly gone through like accounts. Have we gone through how to add a new contact in? Maybe I just made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did, yeah, when we first opened up Salesforce.
And then you just briefly saw the notes off to the side. So
Yep.
you're actually really cruising through a lot of this stuff. It's just like the hardest part is going to be know when to apply a lot of it, right? And you
Yeah,
won't know
right.
that. You won't know that until you're in it,
Yep.
right? So, athletic training style of learning. I'm going to drop you in, sink or swim, right?
That's right. Yep.
Does this help kind of put you at ease, like to know, oh, I've kind of checked off on some of these, but there's still some more to come, like there's a plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I'm going through and I'm starting to take over like the emails and things, I won't need to CC anybody specifically because it all goes into Salesforce, right? I just have to make sure I put that in.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You'll probably, so we were just talking, Andrew, Troy, and I were just talking about like when Shauna comes in and then we transition back over to you, there's probably going to be a general info email that I'm going to set like up on my automated email reply,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm on maternity leave, please email info, blah, blah, blah. So you'll have access to the info email. You and Shauna
Yep.
will both share it. And then you guys will just have to communicate back and forth, like, hey, I'm handling this, you're handling this, etc.
Okay.
But yeah, all of that's going to be you BCC something in Salesforce. It's all that documentation's over to the right side.
Okay.
What
That
other
makes
questions
sense.
do you have today?
I think that's it.
Okay. Do you feel better than like now after
Yeah,
going through
each day. Yeah, each day I feel like I'm getting more pieces of the puzzle. So
and you are doing really, really well. So
good.
just know this job's a lot easier. Like it's just like overwhelming. I don't know what to expect. Like I just have to do
Yeah.
it. And just take some time. And right now you're managing a lot. So you're managing your school, select, and this and learning.
Yeah.
So you're doing super well.
I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.